Hello, my name is Lucas. This is Bit of Lit, and I'm here to join in on the fun of Book Trek 2021. It's 5-month mission to read Star Trek novels of the different franchises, the different series, I mean. I would like to say that I love the idea, and I've never read Star Trek novels before this event, and I was happy to join in. I would also like to say that I had fun reading the novel that I chose. However, the novel that I chose is a heaping pile of trash. um, so, the novel that I picked, I believe, is the second or third Star Trek novel that had a official release or something, and that is this piece of crap, which is Spock Messiah, written by Theodore R. Cogswell and Charles A. Spano Jr. I read somewhere that Theodore wrote just a generic science fiction story, and then Charles wrote the Star Trek characters into this. I don't know how true that is, but that's what I read. Spock Messiah, as you can see, Spock here is dressed in some religious garb, and he's got these crystals, which are very important to what's going on. The Enterprise is, of course, in danger because of an extreme radiation effect, and Spock causes problems for the Enterprise while he is in this state of mind, which has everything to do with this woman. I actually read it on my Kindle. I just wanted to show the picture on a bigger screen and in color. So maybe I can read the captain's log so you can get an idea of what's going on. This is our 8th day in orbit around the Class M planet, Kairos. Dr. McCoy has reported that initial trials of the Telescan cephalic implants devised by Starfleet Cultural Survey Bureau have been generally successful, though some survey team members complained of disorientation on first being linked with the corrosion mines. Dr. McCoy is confident that once each team member realizes he can consciously control the feelings of personality intrusion caused by the link, present complaints of feeling like two different people simultaneously will cease. Okay, we've got something sort of interesting going on. Starfleet has, the Federation has created these devices so that Starfleet officers and crew members of a ship can be connected to them so that they can sort of share the mind of a local on a planet, so they can have the mannerisms and the language and this kind of stuff. We're not here to raise any ethical questions or ask the questions that the crew members might have about what is going on with this technology and why was this in. Anyway, Spock is one of the men sent down with this, and she's one of the women. She has this put in her, and she gets the bright idea that, wait a second, Spock is incredibly attractive. I am drawn to his maleness, and I am going to change the corrosion that corrosion, I don't know. I'm going to change the corrosion that he is connected with from intelligent, probably scientific person of some kind. It doesn't exactly say, with a delusional nut that is a horn dog. And because of the dichotomy in personality, Spock being a logical, intelligent person, and this person being someone with delusions of grandeur and unable to keep anything in his pants, this is quite a shock for Spock, and he's sort of changes completely, and they don't feel like two in one, as it says here about controlling the feelings of personality intrusion. There is extreme personality intrusion because there's such a shock for Spock that he's just kind of unconscious while everything's going on. And he becomes the Hill Tribe's messiah, which I suppose is cool, might be interesting, I guess, except for the fact that this is heinously misogynist and casually racist. Uhura is the black woman every time she's mentioned, and Sulu is no better. He is the Oriental. I mean, anyway, there's a whole big deal about Spock causing trouble on the Enterprise while he's gathering his new followers to fight his wars, so he can, be their god and be their messiah and all that stuff. And the crew, none of the crew really act like themselves. The one good thing about this book is you get to see the names of characters you love, and everything else is bad. Everything about them is nonsense. I have a lot of moral questions about the technology being used. Huge questions. Also, another thing I don't really like about it is that it makes references to episodes and one novel, Spock Must Die, which I believe is the first Star Trek novel, at least like official Star Trek novel. It makes references to these things in such a ham-fisted way. She tries to blame Nurse Chapel, and because she's in love with Spock in the show, and nobody can resist Spock. And this could have been fine, maybe mediocre, if it did not hammer home its misogyny and racism, and more importantly, let me hold it in a safer way. I'm afraid I'll drop it. If it did not, the women are to blame, and if it didn't focus so much on the sexuality of characters, why? I mean, sure, in the original series we see Kirk's sexuality quite frequently. So, there's that, but the way it's focused on in here is just awful, and the way the characters all nothing makes any sense. What makes even less sense is that this woman is the woman to blame for what's happened to Spock because she was in love with him, but she sees the error of her ways. And then Kirk's idea every single time for any problem, the solution is, let's use her as bait, strip her down, get her naked, to entice Spock, to entice the Gareth, I think, or something. I forgot, because it's I don't like this book. It doesn't really matter. Let's get her naked and use her as bait to attract them, and then we'll knock them out and we'll get the crystals back, and we'll fix Spock and all this stuff. And then the ending, which is just even dumber than the rest of the book. We have to be told about everything that happens because Spock is unconscious, and it's a really bad book, and it's unfortunate that it was the first Star Trek novel that I ever read, but can't win them all, I suppose. It's stupendously terrible. I have nothing good to say about any of it, and I look forward to reading a a book in the Next Generation. I at least know those characters pretty well. Once we get to Voyager and Enterprise and Deep Space Nine, I'm going to be. I've read 2 Deep Space Nine novels actually, and they were about Julian Bashir, I think is his name, the doctor there, and another medical officer. I think is on the show. I don't know. I've only seen a few episodes here and there. I read those in the spring, I believe. It was a 2-parter. Those were okay. Had some interesting ideas, but just okay. But I'm looking forward to hopefully not picking one of the worst books I've ever read with a fresh coat of the New Generation paint. We shall see. Thank you. Goodbye.